Hi everyone. So yeah, my talk is the power of shared growth, all things advocacy, allyship, and thriving in the creative industries. And as Ellie said, the theme is give to gain. So just to remember that this is obviously in honor of International Women's Day, which is coming up soon, and International Women's Month, which is happening right now. So yeah, obviously I was sort of introed, but I'll intro myself. A bit about me, if you don't know me, I am a multidisciplinary creative freelancer, so that is more in the directing space. Like I direct, I'm a video editor, but I also, when I first started out, started off with like videography, photography, specifically film photography and production as well, and project management. So I just do a bunch of things, and like no day is the same for me. I'm, here, there, and everywhere doing a bunch of things. And I'm also the founder of Ctrl and Create, which I launched last year, a creative community and development platform and talent pipeline for women who are wanting to get into or grow within the creative industry. And I also, well, I mean, We Are Soul is kind of wrapping up now, but I did do another community for 10 years called We Are Soul. I was the co founder and creative director of We Are Soul, which we actually just had our final event last week. Or the week before at the National Gallery, where my Control and Create 2025 cohort showcased their final projects. So yeah, I've been doing that for years, and that was also women led. So yeah, one thing about me, if you don't know already, I hope you do. I am very passionate about women. I'm all things women. I've built my life on it. I am very passionate about advocating for us and connecting with other women, building us up. So yeah, that's me. But the creative industry has a power problem, which I think we all know. When I first started out, I really had to learn the hard way. I feel like you're all creative in here, so you probably know this as well, but most rooms are largely very male dominated or feel male dominated, especially in the rooms that matter with the decision makers. And being a woman of color does also mean that you're working twice as hard, putting in twice as much effort to get the same or even less pay or effort and work and recognition in what you do. People love to gatekeep. This is across the UK and beyond. I think people have a really weird habit of trying to withhold information, maybe out of fear of not wanting you to take their spot or just not caring enough about giving back to the community, which is crazy because working together is kind of what pushes you further. Working in solitude is good, but it's not the way forward. I think it really hinders your growth. And so, yeah, that's something that I'm working towards changing. Another thing I had to learn the hard way as well is when you're 9 to 5, because I started off working 9 to 5 and juggling freelancing, you think that freelancing is the easier path. Like it looks very shiny and it looks like it's this incredible thing. You're flying out or you're working with this client, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're making X amount of money, but it isn't always the easier path. So it's really important for me in this talk to talk a little bit about how to build a sustainable career in freelancing. And then the last thing, but not the least, is advocacy and allyship. It changes the game. It's actually, for me, the most important thing in my career. The friendships that I've built have been what got me the jobs that I guess are the name brands and, the big deals like that all actually came from obviously my hard work, but largely the people in my network putting me forward. So yeah, I'm going to start off with navigating a male dominated industry. This is something that I'm very passionate about, hence why I've started a women's platform for creatives. The current situation is that the world is very much still rooted in the patriarchy and it operates in the favor of men. And the creative industry is no different. The key decision makers, so for example, executives and CEOs at brands or the people who founded production companies and agencies, the people who are hiring you on set, the directors on set, and the leadership positions are largely men or typically white men. So being a woman in the industry often looks like you being overlooked, being the only woman in the room, being misunderstood or underestimated before you speak or even after you speak, being interrupted when spoken over or spoken over, and rarely being the first choice for hire. Yes, we might be on option, but they're probably going to put a man forward first. I recently saw a campaign. I can't remember the brand. I remember being very irritated, so I didn't save it because it was a brand, an ad periods and menstrual health, and a man had done the campaign for it. And I just was like, there are so many talented female directors, and they still chose a man to direct it. And I think there's just so much of this still happening. And then you know, even when you do get picked to do a photography shoot for a campaign or direct a project for a music video or something, as a woman, you tend to get paid less than your male counterparts, or as a woman of color, you tend to get paid less than your white counterparts. So it's quite frustrating. And I know that that all sounds very negative and frustrating and hard, but I want you to show up regardless of the negatives, regardless of everything that's going on and how difficult this industry can be and how bleak it can seem. Showing up is the first step. Showing up is so important to changing the game for yourself and for your community. So show up confidently and advocate for yourself. Share your ideas, because I think some people have ideas, but maybe they're nervous, and so they keep it under wraps. But actually sharing your idea is a way of advocating for yourself and trying to build yourself up. And also asking to have more women on set. One rule of thumb for me is if I'm directing or if I have a say on who can come on set, there's going to be more women on set. That is like my rule of thumb for anyone that I work with. So if you ever find yourself in that position, basically, even if it's having a friend assist you or putting someone forward for something, try to have more women on set. And if you feel uncomfortable, speak up as well. Also, remembering that you're exactly where you should be. I think imposter syndrome is something that gets all of us, myself included. And I think sometimes it's easy to forget that, like, you were hired for a reason. If you're hired for a job, or if you're brought in for something, or if you're working on a project, that even if it's a personal project, like, you're where you're meant to be. And it's easy to forget that. So just don't allow anyone, even if it's yourself, through imposter syndrome, to undermine that. And just, yeah, remembering that you're like doing what you should be doing. And also, don't be afraid to negotiate. Negotiate everything. Negotiate your time, negotiate your money, your fee. Men have audacity. Men have a lot of audacity. Like, they will ask for anything, even if they don't have the experience, and they get it. And I think it's because they ask, or they feel like, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And so at the end of the day, if you don't ask, you don't get. So I think more women, myself included, we need to just have audacity and negotiate, even if it feels scary. Like, it's very important to just say, hey, like, I'm actually very talented, or hey, I know what I'm doing and I'm skilled, that's why I'm here, and I think I deserve to earn more, or I think that I deserve to have this, or, you know, or maybe it could be you on set and you see something happening that actually this isn't going to work for the shoot, or actually I don't like how this person is being treated. I think being able to advocate for yourself and others and just speaking up, having that audacity, is very, very important. And then another thing as well is building allies, not just visibility. I know that social media is very important, being seen, showing up, being at this event, being at that talk, being at that thing. But building allies in the industry is quite possibly, other than your talent, the most important thing. Having friendships in the industry, genuine relationships in every field, not just people that you think like you like or are doing what you do, but actually friendships in production, gaffers, directors, photographers, account managers at companies. Like, those are the people that are going to book you for jobs. Those are the people who are going to build you up. Those are the people who are going to mention your name in rooms that you wouldn't dream of being in. So yeah, connect with people and actually build relationships with them. And then protecting your energy is also so key. And the final point here is, like, having boundaries is important, but it's also important that you honor them yourself and that you make sure that other people uphold those boundaries. It's very easy to let that slip, especially when you want to secure a job. And that's something that I've kind of made the mistake of in the past, of being scared to lose a job. So I kind of don't protect my energy and I like let my boundaries slip. But I think it's important to have that like locked down so that people know, okay, cool, like, I'm not going to mess with Jedidah here. Like, I know that she needs to rest, so I'm not going to overwork her because she's told me that this is something that she needs. And wherever the boundaries look like for you, have that, write that down, put it on your board somewhere, and always like remind yourself of these boundaries. And then, yeah, just kindly share that with the people that you're working with and with your friends in the industry. Okay, my favorite thing ever, allyship, advocacy, and platforming women. So platforming women to me means crediting properly. This one seems small, But crediting is so important. That could be on your personal projects, like just putting the right at, or it could also be like when you're talking about projects that you've worked on, just mention their name. Brands especially need to do this. Brands do credit a lot of the time, at least the agencies, but there are some brands that you'll see that still don't credit, and that credit makes so much difference. This is something that I think in the industry we need to try to, like, hold brands accountable with, but also ourselves. Like, we should be crediting, because let me tell you, producers are going to your ads, to your social media pages, looking at the caption, and they are looking at who's in the credits to see who they should hire for their next job. So that credit is so key. I think obviously we do that, but it is something that I'm going to try and start doing more of, with advocating to these brands so that they can credit us properly. Another thing is sharing opportunities. If you hear about something, if you see something, share it with your friend, share it with someone in the industry that you know that's a woman. There's just so many opportunities out there, and I know that it can feel like, well, I need this for myself, but even if it's something that like you would want to do, share it with someone. Maybe they're a better fit and that job you wouldn't have enjoyed. Or if you see something that isn't of interest to you because you're a photographer, but you see something for a social media creative, send it to someone who you think it would be applicable for. I think that's very important, to just keep helping each other build each other up, and they'll get into the habit as well of sending things back to you. I've already mentioned this, but building a genuine community is so important. Like I said, a lot of the jobs, especially starting out, came from that. My first billboard campaign came from my community. My first large brand name came from my community. And I think those things have obviously helped me build my career, but I wouldn't have that if I didn't have people believing in me. And like, there are people in my life that take this so seriously. I take this so seriously because it changes your life potentially. My friend Waka, who is an incredible photographer, I remember when I was starting out and editing was like my bread and butter, which it still is largely. But she was directing projects, and she would tell these agencies, if Jedidah's not editing, I don't want to work on this. And that put me in rooms. That had me working on briefs with Estee Lauder, with Nike, because she put her foot down and said, I'm going to advocate for my babe, and if she doesn't edit, I'm not doing it. And they said, well, I want you, so we're going to have Jedidah. And then through that, I started building connections with these agencies and with these clients. And this is what I do as well for my community, in that I advocate for them passionately. So I think it's important as well, not just building a genuine community that will advocate for you, but you doing it for them and passing it on as well to other people. Invitations to rooms you were excluded from. Being bold about your work and your ability, so key. Advocating for yourself, and also being unapologetically authentic. I think especially on set, because it's like not like corporate where you walk in and you have your suit and tie, like it's just you and your joggers, like casual. People will read if you're not being yourself, and also how tiring to be anything that's not who you are. So I think just be yourself in every setting. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you feel uncomfortable, or you feel like you're code switching, which does happen a lot, especially for women of color, or being a woman who is in a male dominated space, take a breath, go outside, call your friend, speak to someone, find another woman on set, become an ally with them, and just like, yeah, again, be yourself, but do what you need to do to protect your energy. Recommending paid jobs to women, partially in connection to sharing opportunities, and then also creating work that impacts your community positively. You can support your community by advocating for them, by sharing opportunities, but also creating photo series or films, or editing videos in a way that like puts women in a beautiful light. I think sharing your community, or involving your community in your storytelling, is also another way to advocate for them. But yeah, women aren't platformed enough regardless, and that's why I built Ctrl and Create. We've been so fortunate to be supported by the likes of Nike London, Sonder, OK Cool, and the National Gallery in our first year, and obviously now Photography Foundation. And it's just like incredible to see so many women coming together to learn, to grow, to build each other up. That's the space that we're building. And unfortunately, there are still, in between the beautiful things and the dinners and the events, there is still a problem at the end of the day for women. And so we are trying to create that solution. So where there is limited access to industry networks, we provide mentorship and career support. Where there's fewer or lower paid opportunities, we facilitate paid opportunities. Where there's structural barriers to progression, we provide community-led culturally relevant spaces, and direct pathways between brands and industry experts with emerging talent. So that's something that we want to continue doing because, like I said, access is very much limited. There are barriers, there's a lot of gatekeeping still, and women are largely overlooked and under supported. So it's really important that we show up for ourselves. We join these programs, we come to these talks, we connect with each other, and we do what we need to do to be loud enough to be let into the rooms or create our own rooms where maybe people don't want to let us into. But thankfully, I do see a shift in the industry. Obviously, we have communities like the Photography Foundation, Ctrl and Create that are actively doing these things to make a difference. So stay in rooms like that and stay away from the places that are like, you know, shutting you out, because there is so much love and support in the UK and in the creative industry. So what I'm building in 2026, we're continuing to do curated cultural moments, showcases, dinners, industry events, workshops, talks for our wider community, our paid members, and also a smaller premium cohort of women. Where also, obviously, we have our structured year-long creative development program. But very importantly, we're also building a trusted talent pipeline for brands and institutions. So we've had in our wider community and in our cohort women hired by brands, agencies for on-set freelance opportunities or full-time work. And this is something that I'm trying to build more and more of, and to hold these brands accountable, because when they show up for us, when they actually, you know, bring women in and support us and advocate for us, it has a large impact on where we can go and what we can do. And so I think more and more of these brands really need to be able to see communities like Ctrl and Create to access and tap into our talent for women like yourself, so that you can get hired for shoots, because the talent is not the issue, access is the issue, right? We're so talented and we have so many ideas and so many skills, but a lot of the issue is resource and being just let into the rooms. But yeah, hopefully you're gathering from this talk so far that when we move together, we all win. Like, I think working in solitude, like I said, it can be good. It does have its time, but moving together is very important. And some people might be afraid to, like, you know, support because they don't want you to take their spot, like I said. But also for some people, it might be that they're scared to ask for help, or it might be that you just feel like you're used to working alone, so you just need to keep working alone. But again, like, share that load with your community. That is the whole purpose of, you know, International Women's Day, International Women's Month, and what we're doing with Ctrl and Create as well. So there's this like equation that I've been using and I've been like embedding into my talks, and it's skill plus community equals clients. Like, let me just be honest, and I'm sure we're all thinking it, like, being in the creative community and the creative industry, obviously it's, you want to share your talent and your skills and you want to work on amazing projects, but at the end of the day, there's bills that need to be paid. Okay, there's rent that needs to be paid, there's money that needs to be saved, taxes that need to be paid, so many things. And like, we also just need to build a sustainable career. So at the end of the day, bottom line, we need clients, because those clients are going to help us fund our lives and fund those things. But to get the clients that you want, the type of clients that you want, the type of projects that you want, and to get the type of budgets that you want as well, you need to have, I think, community and skill. So skill is your craft, your talent, your output, your work. This is what builds your portfolio. This is so important, obviously, to like getting people to be excited about your work. When they look at your Instagram and they look at the first page of your website, they're instantly calculating, this is who Jedidah is, or this is who this photographer is, this is their style of work, why should I hire them, just from looking. So obviously your work and your talent is very important in how you show up for yourself. But then your community, your people, your network, your collaborators, your advocates, the people who are mentioning you in places that you wouldn't be in, or the people who are like really championing you, like my friend Waka, who said, I'm only going to work on this project if Jedidah works on this particular project. These are the people that build your profile, and your profile is what people buy into. People aren't just buying into your talent. When I say people, I'm talking about clients. They're buying into you as a person now. They're buying into what you come with, your community. Who are you beyond your work? Like, what do you stand for? So I think it's very important to like surround yourself with people who also are like similar to you, but also advocating for you. And I think those things together provide your clients. So the opportunities, the access, the work, the visibility, those two things are what build your career. So really pay attention to obviously building your skills and building your talent. Go to talks where you can learn about those things, but also build your community and level up in that area too, because it's equally as important. So this is what collective growth looks like. Control and Create, this is, I guess this is more for Control and Create and what we've done. But I'm only really saying this because you can do this for other people too, just by mentioning them when opportunities come up. So some of the opportunities that we got for our community in the first year, well, this was less of an opportunity but more an experience, but put them in those rooms. So we had our wrap dinner a few weeks ago with the Nike London, who sponsored, and in partnership with Sonda. In our first year, like, that's so incredible. But also we had 4 members of the Nike team present, we had Sonda present, and like being sitting and rubbing shoulders next to brands like that who are advocating for you is so important. So I think that's something that I wanted to share. And then also we were able to get someone in our wider community their first ever on-set experience as a production runner on Pink Pantheress' music video. This was someone who just DM'd me saying, hey, I've seen your community. I don't know what to do in the creative industry. I haven't really started, but I'm interested. Where do I begin? This opportunity came up within a few days, hours maybe. I shared it with her. She got booked for that job. She now has decided through that experience and opportunity that she wants to be a set designer and has built a portfolio, and she's actually now in the 2026 cohort. 2 of our members as well, they were production runners for a Spotify campaign. And then like I said, we had our cohort last year showcase their work at the National Gallery, and we've had so many other opportunities. We had 3 women in the cohort and also in the wider community get full-time jobs at agencies, creative agencies, which is incredible. And I think just advocating for yourself, showing up, but also us doing that for them is what collective growth can look like. I mentioned that I was the co-founder of We Are Soul. This is some of what we did. Obviously, it was women-led. Our work was maybe more broad and less niche than Control and Create for women. But this is some of what we were able to achieve just by working collectively as a community. We had an Ilewa project, which was a coffee table book and a short film. We spotlighted 41 African and Caribbean global creatives. And that then allowed us to create this month-long nationwide billboard campaign across the UK in partnership with Jedidah, and also connected us with the National Gallery. And we did our first event there, and we then went on to do 3 events there. We've also been sponsoring young women through education in Nigeria for the last 8 or 9 years, or since 2017. That's something that we've been doing in the background, because no matter what, at the end of the day, we're giving back to women. And it's not just women here and women around us, it's also women, for me, back home, women who are less fortunate than we are, and supporting them in ways that would be extremely beneficial. And so for us in Nigeria, it was education. So I think it's just so important, like, that there are so many ways that you can support. There are so many ways that you can advocate and, collectively grow together. But this is the impact. That Ilewa project landed us a spot in an Elle magazine feature. So I think it's just like, you never know. And when we started that, it was just an idea that I had to make a short film, and then I was like, let's make a book. And then I brought in the whole team, and then it was like, actually, let's spotlight 41 creatives, and then that led to all of these things. So you just never know what one small idea or what one small conversation can do. Okay, sustainably building your freelancing career. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about, because I feel like I've been yapping for ages, but it's really important to cover this, even if briefly. I have been freelancing now for, I started, I'd say, in the industry 7 years. 2019 is when I officially was like, okay, cool, I'm going to do this. I was juggling my full-time job. I was living outside of London, traveling to London every day, doing videography at events and doing things for brands. And then in 2021, I started to have I was like, I think I want to go full time, but like, I'm scared. So I'm going to push back the date. I'll do it in December. I'll do it in January. I'll do it. And then I got made redundant. The universe really has a way of just putting you in the place that you should have put yourself in when you're too scared to take that leap. But I think, like, if I knew what I'm about to share before I took that leap, things would have probably been so different for me. So building a sustainable career, like, whether you're self-employed, part-time, or you're freelancing full-time, hopefully this is helpful. But one thing I learned in my journey, 5 years full-time in, 7 years in, is that it's not linear, and that's normal. I think I was really worried at the beginning about not getting booked every single month, or not getting multiple projects, or not getting paid a certain amount of money, or not working with certain types of clients, or not having my own creative ideas for my own personal projects because maybe for like 6 months I had like creative block or writer's block or whatever it may be. And I think like it's okay to like have moments where you're not busy. I think as freelancers we get worried that like I need to be booked, I need to be doing things, but actually in those moments of quiet there are things to be doing, which I'll get into in a minute. But yeah, so obviously big issue, access and gatekeeping, like I've said, but again, building community and connecting with people and sharing your own knowledge of people is already, you know, kind of like combating that, which is very key. There's a lot of risk to being self-employed, to being freelance, whether that's part-time or full-time. Like I said, I wanted to quit my job, but I kept pushing back that date. But that's because I knew the risk that was attached with going fully self-employed. There is a risk, but there's also ways around it, and there's ways to prepare. Having your community to build you up when you're feeling emotionally low, or when you're looking for opportunities and you just have nothing left to give, or even having genuine community by your side where you have ideas and you want to bounce ideas off with them. That's probably like my favorite thing to do, is to just call my friends up and be like, hey, I have this idea, what do you think, how can we do this, is it good? I think that's very important, to like also giving yourself that little boost of confidence or reassurance. And then freelancing instability. This is very much a thing. Not knowing when your next job is coming. Not knowing how many jobs you're going to have. Very, very, very important, because it's just something you have to prepare yourself mentally. I think some people think when you go self-employed, you're just going to be booked and busy all the time. I'm not even booked and busy all the time. And I've been doing this for 7 odd years, and there's moments where it needs to be quiet. But I think those moments are very important because you can use them to invest in yourself. When you're working on client projects, it's amazing. You get to work on brands, work with brands, work on projects, and you also get to like, you know, make money. But I do think sometimes it can be a bit soul crushing because you're like not always able to like creatively let yourself free and fly and do what it is that you want to do. So investing in yourself during those quiet periods, doing passion projects, test shoots, doing things that like you're excited about, where maybe a brand project is maybe focused on commercial, I think is really important during those times. So don't see moments of like I don't have things to do as a bad thing. See it as cool. It's me time, like time for me to do things for myself that I'm passionate about and things for my community. Financial stability. Yeah, this is a big one because like I thought when I got made redundant, I had like a large chunk of money saved, which is incredible for me, but not everybody has that, right? That was my thing. I was able to start off freelancing on a good foot because I had money saved. But I didn't realize you always have to have money in your account. When I first started out, I was like, oh, okay, like I have these savings and I'm going to keep getting booked. But then when that freelancing instability happens and you're not getting booked and the savings have gone, things get really sticky. And I've been there, and we're all there. We've all been there. But it's important to like, when you do get the projects, set aside, have a pot if you can, where you're setting aside money for a rainy day. Always have some sort of emergency fund where you can. If you're working full time and juggling freelancing part time, save a portion of your income for personal projects or just for a rainy day. If you are someone who's fully self-employed, you really need to be smart with your money. Try not to live paycheck to paycheck. Always have a pot of money saved because you just never know. And if you have to take a part-time job in the meantime to build yourself back up, your finances back up, or if you have to assist people, maybe you don't want to assist because you're like, but I've been doing this for years, I shouldn't assist. Assisting people is a great way to meet people and to like meet other clients and to connect and get your name out there. But it's also a good way and a sure way to make money. There's also doing things that maybe aren't like in line with what you foresaw for yourself, but that's okay. Like for example, I direct, and what I think what most people see on my portfolio is Cat's Eye, Sony, Tate Britain, this, that. That's what I show, but I do a lot of social content. That is my bread and butter. That's why I'm in Australia right now for social content. I'm probably not going to post it, but it's like, I might not, it depends. But it's like, this is my bread and butter. This is how I pay my bills. Like, this is how I invest in myself. And yes, I do work as a director and I get paid, but that type of work is very few and far between. And I'm okay with taking work that's still fun for me because I am a video editor, but it isn't exactly maybe what I want to do in 10 years. Like, doing things financially to be stable is very, very important. So I think do that. And obviously balancing as well, balancing your social life, balancing your work, because when you're self-employed, you don't have the luxury of a 9 to 5 schedule, which is quite rigid. You have to self-motivate. You have to figure out what you're doing on your time. Like no one's going to tell you what to do. So it's very important to like figure out a schedule that works for you. If you're type A, then maybe that's a to-do list. Maybe that's your calendar. If you're a type B person, maybe that's like, I don't know, setting like alarms like to remind you on your phone, or like having like a little community group with your friends like to be accountability partners, or whatever it is. Like just figure out a way to balance, because when you lose that balance you find that you're overworked or underworked, and both are just not good. So figure out something that works for you. um Being someone in an underrepresented community, like being a woman or being a black woman or woman of color in the creative industry, yeah, I've already kind of talked about it. Like it is a little bit harder, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. And I think doing all these things that I've mentioned are really going to like help you make things a bit easier. Um, and evolving, just remember that like your career will evolve. Things will always change. You will evolve. What you want for yourself might change. Your community will evolve. But I think just giving yourself that grace is really, really important in this industry, because things are constantly changing. So these are some of the projects that I've done. I guess a snippet of my show reel and my work. And again, like a lot of these projects I've secured because of my community, or because I made myself available during the moments when I was maybe in quiet periods. When a brief came in, I was ready to go. I wasn't like, oh my God, I've been wallowing in sadness. I was like, yeah, cool, it's time. I've done my personal projects, time for a client project. Like I think it looks shiny, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into this, and a lot of it is self-belief, but also having a community that is there to like really support you when things get rough. But also, I think another thing that has helped me to get projects like this is the art of putting myself out there. That can be very hard for someone who maybe isn't extroverted, or even just doesn't like social media, or just doesn't want to put content out there. And you don't have to do it in the way that I do it, which is sharing informative content, or like, speaking in front of the camera. It could just be taking people on set with you, or showing people your process, finding a way that it works for you. And it also doesn't need to be social media. It could be just going out to more events, or being in group chats and joining communities, or connecting with people in a way that you wouldn't typically. That's you putting yourself out there. But I think people are shy about it. And like I said at the beginning of this talk, women need to have more audacity, and part of that audacity is being loud about your craft, being loud about your talent, being loud about what you do. And I don't mean loud in an obnoxious, overwhelming, annoying way. I mean loud in a confident, silent growth, like this is me and I deserve to be here type of way. And it's taken me a very long time to get to this place, because believe me, like I very much was someone who was just very insecure about whether I was good enough to be in places, or if I knew what I was doing. And like I would get jobs and I'd be like, oh, I don't know if I can do it, but then I obviously can do it because I did it before. But I think it's hard to forget, and I think putting myself out there has actually given me an extra boost of confidence. For me, it's social media. Like I said, for you, it could be different. Advocating for yourself, sharing knowledge with others, building in public. These are things that I think are going to set you apart from other creatives, but also it won't just be about your work and your talent. It will also be about who you are beyond that. Like I said, with the skill plus community equals clients equation. So that's it. I've spoken for so long. I hope you guys have, got some value from this talk. I do have a couple more slides to share, but for now, I'd love to open up the floor to any questions that you might have. Please, please, please unmute. I'd love to hear from you and we can have a chat. But yeah.
Just to say fantastic. Thank you so much, Jedidah, and thank you for sharing your empowering words. And it comes across very, very clear how passionate you are about advocating and allyship. I particularly loved the equation that you used, the skill plus community equals clients. And it's a great tip as well for emerging creatives and photographers joining the call. I do have some questions, but I'll open it up first to the audience. Juliet, you were first, so feel free to unmute yourself and share your question.
If you want to come on camera too, you can, but also if you have your bonnets on, or you have like your scarves on, you're in bed, it's also fine. But I'd love to hear from you.
Hello, good evening. I
Hey.
wanted to start off by saying thank you to the Photography Foundation for doing this. The Photography Foundation has always supported me through my creative journey. So I really appreciate this. And thank you, Jadida, for making time out of your trip to talk on here. We have actually met before at the show and tell by More Than Just.
Oh, yes. Cute. Love
Um,
it.
I'm always like in the mood for questions. So I was just taking notes, and my question was just mainly in regards to mentorship. You mentioned the importance of mentorship and
Mhm.
allyship, but my question always goes back to how do you build those genuine allyships and mentorship? Because when there's like a power dynamic, it
Mm,
doesn't always feel genuine, and it can be a bit of I guess a pool where you have to sell yourself or you have to make
yeah.
this person see your worth in order for them to mentor you or for
Mm,
them to even become an ally. So my question is more so how does one form genuine allyships and mentorships?
yeah. That's a good question because yeah, you're right. Like it can feel a bit awkward or like do I have to like be something that I'm not so that they can pick me? Like and it shouldn't feel like that. I do think also if you get that vibe from someone, don't even bother. Because if you get that vibe from them, maybe that's who they are, and you just don't want even to try with people like that. You want to go for people who are openly supportive and trying to help, because then you're gonna get received with like good energies. I would say like obviously being part of communities like Control and Create and so on, like that is a kind of like a cheat code in getting support in that way, because like we'll always connect you with the right people. Like the Photography Foundation will like connect you with people like myself who will have these talks with you, and you can always email and like have these conversations beyond the talks. But if it's like you reaching out on your own without a community backing you, I think maybe first trying to see if you can work with them like on set, like assisting them, shadowing them. Because when you like meet them, or like even just for a coffee, like I'm signed as a director. I got signed by being on set doing social content with a producer who loved my vibe, put me forward for a job that I didn't get. And then I reached out to them anyways because I was like, hey, I know I didn't get the job, but I'd love to have a coffee with you. We went for a coffee, and then that then led to me building a relationship with them, which then eventually led to me being signed. I didn't even think about getting signed. I just wanted a job, So I think like being around people who genuinely like you're on set already and like you're kind of having those conversations. I think a lot of the people that I've worked with or like been mentored or supported by are people I've met on set, like actually on set. And I've just like put things out there, or I've just had an energy of like, hey, I want some support, and then they'll connect me. But I think just trying to like meet up for coffees or like assisting or seeing if you can like connect while you're on set, like that will open doors potentially, and that's what happened for me. So I think when you meet them already in real life, it feels easier than like a DM, which
Yeah, it
can
doesn't always go as
yeah,
planned. But thank you for reassuring me. Because in a space like London, it can be definitely difficult to find those that are
yeah,
outwardly minded and are, um,
yeah.
community oriented.
Mhm.
And then my second question was, it goes back to, I guess, community and mentorship and that sort of thing. But how do you actually like get people to meet up with you or sustain those relationships once you've met those people in person? Because
Mm,
I find myself in a space where I go out a lot, I go to the right places, I shake the right hands, but the issue is following up after. I follow up, but they're not quite interested. But in person, they were very open and they were like,
mm,
drop me a message. And then now, when we take it to the DMs, it's a little bit different. The energy has shifted. So,
yeah.
how does one navigate that?
I mean, to be honest, if somebody doesn't want to respond and like they said, drop me a message and then they don't reply, they were never going to. Like that's just their energy. And again, like I said earlier, do not invest, protect your energy. Do not continue pestering or like you doing things for people that like are just not there. And if you feel that, because there's people like myself, like us, who are willing to do that. But what I will say is, again, trying to get on set with them or like working with them. Honestly, I feel like for me, I've built relationships with these people because I've ended up working with them, whether it's on a personal project or like I've supported them or they've supported me. I think if you can find a way to like maybe like, hey, like, do you want to do this test shoot with me, and like we can kind of like brainstorm ideas, or hey, do you want to do a co-working day together? I think basically taking it beyond the event and like not online and being offline with them is probably the move, because that's when you really get to know them. So like if you can suggest a co-working day, because it doesn't have to be like a coffee, like what's that, like we actually have work to do, like maybe we can do a co-working day, maybe we can like do a test shoot together or a collaborative project together, or if you have an assisting opportunity, maybe they can assist you or support you, or you can assist them or support them. But I think in person, try to like do more in person if you can, to build that relationship. That is how you build those friendships and those connections, and that's also an easier way to get to know people.
Well noted. Thank you for answering all my questions. And I have dropped your message before, but since we're
Oh,
here, do you mind
Oh,
if I join you on set next time?
I don't even know when my next onset opportunity will be, and obviously I get asked that a lot. But I think like what for me is what I'm trying to do is with through Control and Create is like through the events, through the talks. Like so, I think that would be the way we would connect potentially,
I'm
and then
signed
obviously
up.
I don't even know when my next job is, my dear.
I
So
signed up
you
for
do.
the emailing list. Is there like a WhatsApp group chat or another platform?
I think email me, because obviously I'm guessing we have more questions. But
Yes.
yeah, email me and then
Thank you
we'll
so
And
thank
yeah,
yeah.
Juliet, you can email also the Photography Foundation and we can connect you with Jedidah. I see, Divine, you're next on your question, and then it's Lila. Divine, feel free to unmute yourself to ask your question.
Hello, hello.
Hi there.
Hey,
Hi, I was trying to
Divine.
unmute myself. It was taking a while. Thank you so much for this session was really good, and thank you, Jadida, for your time because you're on holiday. But are you on holiday? I don't know, but I know you're not in the country, so
A
thank you
work
for your
trip,
time
my
today.
dear. Yeah.
But I just wanted to, Juliet really asked some really good questions and asked questions that I wanted to ask because like maintaining, I'm part of a community, I'm part of Control and Create, but I think maintaining a community is very, very like, especially somebody who's a bit of an introvert, is very, very difficult. So like, how do you maintain your community and how do you maintain like the friendships that you have and like checking in on people, especially when like there's weeks where like you're going through a lot and there's like deadlines and stuff like how do you just like
Mhm.
maintain those communities that you have and like the people that you're friends with and like people that you work with?
I mean, you don't constantly have to like talk to people all the time. If you are in a period of like things are hard and I'm going through it and the deadlines are there, my dear, lock in, like lock in
Yeah,
and focus, because it's like you can only give so much, right? Like I actually, when I am really busy, I'm really much like, hey guys, I'm gonna need this time to focus. Obviously, if I can get some support, I'll get some support. But like, there's actually seasons for things. You don't have to constantly like talk to your friends or like build these communities to like maintain that community with them. So maybe there's that illusion of like I feel like I have to constantly like it should actually feel quite organic when you're building the right relationships with people. It should feel easy. And I think if you do feel like there's someone you really want to connect with, but maybe like you're losing contact with them or it's feeling maybe more distant, you really want to tap in again, that's what like I was saying earlier, just like reach out again and be like, hey, like it's been a while since we've spoken, are you working on anything right now, is there any way I can support you? It's like getting someone to like message you saying, oh, how am I wording this, sorry, if somebody messages you and they say, can I support you, that means so much. And like I know that we need to support ourselves, but like also remembering to support them. And I think they will come back to you with like, hey, like, yeah, like I have this, or like, oh no, I'm good right now. How have you been? And then you guys can connect like by meeting up for lunch or for whatever. Like I just think the most important thing is like I think people see the creative industry of building relationships as like very formally, or like let's like, only the coffees. Coffees are great, but I think you actually do have to build that relationship and try to be friends with them. And if it's not a friendship, it's not a friendship. Like it's actually okay. Don't force it. But I think, yeah, like giving your space time to like lock in when you need to, and like also then being available to support your friends and like being receptive when they're ready to support you. But yeah, when you're an introvert, because I do know quite most of my friends are actually introverts. But like when you find your people, you'll find your people. Hence why I say like try to like actually focus on genuine relationships as opposed to networking. Because they will get it. They'll also get it, and then you won't have to be extroverted. You could just be yourself. because they'll understand. So yeah.
I just
Thank
want to
you.
be a bit cheeky and ask the second question. Just
Is
like,
there
how do you
time?
maintain your like resilience? Because you're like really positive and like you do so much. Like, how are you so resilient?
That's so cute. I wouldn't say I know I'm positive, but I have my down days. We all do. Like I definitely have my days where I'm like, woe is me. But like, I don't know. I just think those moments are fleeting, and I think I remember that they're fleeting, and I know that like, again, like I said, everything is constantly evolving and constantly changing. So even if things are hard today, it's not going to be hard tomorrow, or it's not going to be hard next week. Um, and again, I really have invested in my community. So whenever I'm low, like I said, if you're emotionally low, ride with people who are going to build you up and lift you up. My friends lift me up genuinely. When I say my friends, I'm not just talking about my friends from uni or whatever. I'm talking about my friendships in the industry. If I need to rant about what's going on, they lift me up. So I think having people to like sow into you when your energy and battery is low, and then also giving your space, your time, yourself space to like be sad and then be like, cool, it's gonna evolve, it's gonna get better. That always helps me.
Thank you, Divine, and thank you, Jadida,
Thank you
for
so much.
addressing Divine's question and also thinking backwards to your presentation and speaking about how friendship can help dismantle imposter syndrome. So it's a good reminder that those friendships and connections can be a good kick to our any imposter syndrome and any sadness or
Mm.
shyness as well. Lila, you're next, and then we have Elizabeth. We have a few more minutes.
Hi, Jadida.
Hey, wait, you sound quiet.
Um,
Oh, yeah, you're
I don't
good
know,
now.
my
You're good.
audio is a bit like I had to,
No,
sorry, I
no,
had
no,
to like
you're
come
good now.
come off like hell. But I myself have been made redundant and I was looking
Mm.
to like take a different route because my background is also video editing. But I do
Nice.
like to take pictures as a hobby, but I thought what would it look like if I took it seriously? So I was wondering if you knew like how I could like go about doing that in terms of like gaining experience. I have tried to like do little projects myself. Like there was a like Adidas event on Oxford Street. They were doing a Jamaica kit launch. So I went there with my camera. They surprisingly let me in and I was able to take pictures there to like build my portfolio, which was
I,
good. But yeah, just like how would I go about, I guess, putting myself forward to build my
yeah,
portfolio essentially.
I also love the audacity of showing up with your camera and being like,
Listen,
"Well, I'm
babe,
gonna come," and he was.
they turned me away. I was like, oh,
I
okay.
love that. More of that this year, honestly. But yeah, so is that, sorry, getting into photography or video editing?
Photography.
Photography. I actually have quite a few photography friends, and like I said, I did photography early on in my career, before like fully moving into video. But like I did so many test shoots and like
Okay.
personal projects, and like my friends, like I have friends who are like signed photographers now, and they still do test shoots. And I would say like there's modeling agencies who are always like getting new models and they're looking for photographers to do test shoots. That's almost like the cheat code, because if you go to these agencies and you're like, hey, I'm a photographer, here's my portfolio, do you have any models that I can test shoot? A lot of the time, like they actually will like let you test shoot. I have agencies reaching out. IMM, I think, is one. They always reach out with models looking for test shooters, so maybe reach out to them and look into other modeling agencies. But I think you get like people who are, you know, industry trained, they're models, they look good, they know what to do on camera, so you're like coming in with your creative experience and like capturing content. I think building your portfolio and showing what you can do is what will show other clients what you can do. Create the type of work in your personal projects that you want to be hired for.
Mm.
If you want to get into product photography, test shoot products photos. If you want to get into editorial, do editorial, personal projects and so on, events, like, you know, things like that. Yeah, I honestly feel like test shoots is like almost like the cheat code a little bit. Um, and just doing your own projects. That's for me, even with like video and everything that I did my own projects, and that is genuinely what got me the jobs, because I had to show something. I had to show what I could do. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful, but
Thank
Nice.
you,
don't
Judith.
let me know.
Lila. Elizabeth and then Tammy. We have only a few minutes, so I will please ask one question each, just to be mindful of Jedidah's time as well.
It's literally 6 a.m. here, guys.
6
But yes,
a.m. Oh my god.
it's actually crazy.
Is the microphone working? Oh no, you
Yes.
didn't really double.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. I had a question about putting yourself out there and having the audacity to. And I know that can be so exhausting. Like even right now, me being on call, like my voice is shaking. But when you have those like exhausting moments where you're like, oh, this is like becoming too much for me, how do you like reconcile with yourself and like push yourself to keep putting yourself out there time and time again?
That's actually a big one, and I only recently got better at that because, like, I used to tie a lot of my value to my work and what I was doing and achieving, and so when I would like put content out there, I'd be like, yeah, I'm on it, and then I would like stop because I was either too busy or I didn't have the time, or I didn't have the passion for it anymore, and I would really beat myself up about it, and then it created a whole gap because then I'd beat myself up, then I wouldn't do it, and then and then it then became a long period of not doing it. But this time around, going at it again, I think for me the difference is that I honestly allow myself to fail, or I allow myself to stop or to pause. I think that's something we don't do enough. We really don't give ourselves enough grace. Like when we feel like I need to keep going or like I need to show up, because you start beating yourself up. But yeah, basically now, like the resilience or like me continuing to like keep going is like when I don't have the time or the energy, I pause and then I continue. But I remember to continue. That's the difference between last time. And I have a plan as well. So even if I pause, I always have a plan ready to go from when I'm ready to start again. Like I'll have like ideas for what I want to post or create, or I also batch. For me, it's obviously filming content, which in my case, it would be like batch creating. It could be, if it's photos or whatever it is that you do, create in bulk so that even when you have your slow periods or the periods where you just cannot, you have something to like share. Repurposing old content, honestly, nobody's going to remember. There's so many new people finding your page. Repurposing things is almost like another way to kind of like keep things going. I'm currently posting videos I made in 2024 that I posted on TikTok 2 years ago, and I'm posting it now on my Instagram. Repurpose your content and also give yourself the space and the grace to like pause and then like come back and have a plan so that when you come back, you know what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank you, Jedidah. Our last question for tonight. Tammy, it's over to you. Feel free to unmute yourself. And
Hey, Tammy, I recognize you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for the talk today. This is probably just a long shot. I just wanted to ask, like, possibly if you might be able to help me with the connection that I've been trying to build. There's this girl called Michelle Smith. She was a producer at Tolu Coca's like her London Fashion Week shows. But I've seen that she follows Ctrl Create, but I'm not sure if yeah, I'm not sure if you guys have like any like work together or anything. I just wanted to ask
No.
possibly. Yeah, if you don't, that's fine. I just wanted to ask.
No. I don't know her. She doesn't follow me personally.
Yeah,
If she follows Control and Create, we can always message her on Control and Create
yeah.
and do a little connect. It would be good to know if you can DM Control and Create with like why it is that you want to connect and like what it, then
Yeah.
that would get, and also your email. That would help because then I can just
Okay, yeah.
message and then do a little connect that way. But
I'll
if she
do
follows,
that.
then that's
Okay.
great. But yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't actually. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for the
awesome.
talk today. It was really good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much,
Thank you so
Tammy.
much.
And thank you, Jedidah. Just a huge, huge thank you again, Jedidah, for tonight's talk and for celebrating International Women's Day with us and talking all things about allyship, advocacy, and all your insightful advice at our Q&A. I've added a few useful links on the chat. Please do check our upcoming events, both online, and on site at our North Greenwich studio. Please take a moment to complete our feedback survey so that we know about your experience. This talk has been recorded, and I will be following up with an email with our useful links and with the recorded version of the talk once it's edited. Just to mention also that the Photography Foundation has a community of dedicated volunteers. So if you're based in London and you're interested in volunteering with us and getting to know other creatives and photographers, check our website. We recruit volunteers every February and September, but you can register your interest throughout the year. And yeah, just a big thank you from me. Thank you for showing up and joining us. Thank you for your insights. And I love to see your comments and your thank yous, which I will definitely share with Jedidah. And yeah, take care. Have a great rest of your week. And please remain connected. Jedidah is sharing on the screen her TikTok and Instagram handle, as well as her email, which is info@jedidahhm.com. So please do remain connected. Thank you so much. We will linger. I'll linger for a few minutes in the call, but feel free to drop off and continue your evening or your daytime if you're in Australia.